Alright, here's part 2 of the Council of Elrond. Now, as, so Frodo and Bilbo have told their tales of how they found the ring and got the ring, and Frodo bringing it to Rivendell. Galdor of the Havens, who sat nearby, overheard him. Frodo asking, I still want to know more about Gandalf. What happened to him? And Galdor says, "You speak for me also." And then turning to Elrond, "The wise may have good reason to believe that the halfling's trove is indeed the great ring of long debate. Unlikely, though, that may seem to those who know less. But may we not hear the proofs? And I would ask this also, what of Saruman? He is learned in the lore of the rings, yet he is not among us. What is his counsel if he knows the things that we have heard?" And so it is now Gandalf's turn to speak. And then, of course, Gandalf's like, what if you listen to what Glorian has said, and, Frodo being chased, why? If it's not the One Ring. The 9 the Nazgul keep, the 7 are taken or destroyed. The 3 we know of. What then is this one that he desires so much? And of course Gandalf mentions how he had once been to the dungeons of Dol Guldur and discovered that the Necromancer was indeed Sauron. And that Saruman had dismissed any idea of going after him. No, let's just leave Sauron alone. But eventually Saruman did yield, obviously, in The Hobbit. When Gandalf left, that's where he went, is to the council, and they did indeed drive him from Mirkwood. And so, even back then, Saruman was wanting the ring for himself. And, of course, they all listened to Saruman when he was saying, don't go after him, the ring will reveal itself if we just let Sauron alone. He even once said, oh, well, the ring's gone, it rolled into the sea, and, nothing we can do about it. And so Gandalf, just left it alone, and he realizes at this point that was a mistake, but you can't blame Gandalf because he listened to Saruman. Saruman was the wisest of them. He was the head of the council, the head of the Astari even. So you have to listen to him, right? You don't want to be insubordinate. And then Aragorn, is like, I'm the one that had told Gandalf to go, that we need to go search for Gollum. And that is exactly what they did, and Aragorn talks about that. And then Gandalf talks about how he went to Minas Tirith, and he found a scroll that Isildur wrote, talking about the ring when he got it, and that the ring at this point was shrinking, and that because it will do that, it will change its size to fit the wearer. And of course Sauron's body was really hot, and that's how Gil-galad was killed, because he got too close to him and he burned to death. And now that it's not on his hand anymore, it was starting to cool off. But when it's hot, obviously the engraving that was put on there will be seen. And Isildur says in the scroll that it's starting to fade. And he says, "It is precious to me, though I buy it with great pain." Gollum would always refer to the ring as what? Or himself. My precious. So that's when Gandalf went back to the Shire, and as you remember earlier in Chapter 2 of Book 1, he throws the ring into the fire, and those words pop up. And so this is when he speaks those words. And of course, Legolas comes in and says, I was sent here to tell you guys, you know how you had Gollum made to be a prisoner, imprisoned by us? Well, he's escaped. We didn't want him cooped up in a deep, dark dungeon. We wanted him to go out, get some fresh air. And one day, as we did that, he wouldn't come down from his favorite tree of his, and then we got attacked by orcs, and he was gone. So, and of course, Gloin's like, well, you guys weren't so kind to me. Now come, said Gandalf. Pray do not interrupt, my good Gloin. That was a regrettable misunderstanding, long set right. If all the grievances that stand between elves and dwarves are to be brought up here, we may as well abandon this council. And so it is. And then he recounts his story of what happened to him. Radagast found him, told him Saruman's looking for you. He wants you at Isengard by midsummer. So Gandalf goes, and Saruman imprisons him. This is where we find out that Saruman wants the ring for himself. Gandalf won't tell him where it's at, so that's why he's imprisoned. Of course, eventually the Great Eagle comes and rescues him, takes him to Rohan. He asks King Theoden for help. Theoden tells him, get the heck out of here, take any horse you want, I don't care, just go. And so he chose Shadowfax. And he talks about how he rides up north, visits the Gaffer, finds out that Frodo's gone, visits Bree, and Keeper tells him, he went off with Strider, and he's kind of disappointed by that, but Gandalf's not. Gandalf's like, well, that's great news! And blesses Butterbur's beer. And obviously he got Gandalf ended up getting chased by the ring wraiths, and then made his way to Rivendell, and there he is. And so yeah, Saruman, what is his counsel? His counsel is join with Sauron, which is bad idea. Very, 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 very bad idea. So anyway, so we get through that long part, and they ask, well, what about Tom Bombadil? I mean, he seems to have a power over the ring, so why can't we just send it to him? And of course, there's a reason why you should not do that. No, I should not put it so, said Gandalf. Say rather that the ring has no power over him. He is his own master, but he cannot alter the ring itself, nor break its power over others. And now he is withdrawn into a little land within bounds that he has set, though none can see them, waiting perhaps for a change of days, and he will not step beyond them. And that he goes on to say that if we send it to him to keep it, he won't understand the need. He'll just eventually just not care about it and just toss it, which you should not do, because who knows who will get it then, because eventually it's going to make its way to Sauron. Of course, we get Tom Bombadil's elvish name, Yarwine Benadar. And his name is, see, it does tell you in this book here what that means in Elvish. So if I can find that right quick. Yes, indeedy. That's not it either. Well, it means old and fatherless. Yeah. Because he has no father, he's just always existed. Although he was created, obviously, because there's one god above him that would have created him. And Boromir's like, why don't we use it against the enemy? Well, you can't do that either, because then if you use it, it'll start that way. You'll start using it for good to try to defeat Sauron, but instead you're going to replace him as the Dark Lord, and we can't have that. And they ask about maybe sending it to Valinor. Well, they're not going to take it because it belongs to Middle Earth. It's Middle Earth's problem. So taking it back to the sea isn't going to help the situation either. The only thing that can be done is if you take the ring to Mordor and cast it into the fire where it was made. And then Bilbo stands up and is like, well, obviously that means you want me to go, because I started the whole thing, you want me to go there. They're like, no, you didn't start it, so you're not expected to finish something you didn't start. You're too old. So they've accepted the fact that they got to destroy it. So that's going to be the quest. And so they're going to send messengers along with it. And there's complete silence, and this is when Frodo stands up and says, I will take it. Elrond goes on to say, but it is a heavy burden, so heavy that none could lay it on another. I do not lay it on you. But if you take it freely, I will say that your choice is right. And though all the mighty elf friends of old, Hador and Húrin and Túrin and Beren himself were assembled together, your seat should be among them. And this is when Sam comes in and says, you're not going to send him off alone. They're like, well, no, indeed. You at least shall go with him. It is hardly possible to separate you from him, even when he is summoned to a secret council, and you are not. Sam sat down, blushing and muttering. A nice pickle we have landed ourselves in, Mr. Frodo, he said, shaking his head. And that is the end of that chapter. Yeah, it's kind of a slog to get through, but it gets you to where you need to go, and which is the ring's got to be destroyed, someone's got to take it, Frodo's going to take it, and there you go. And so now what they got to decide is who else is going to go with it, because Frodo can't go alone, obviously. There needs to be a group of people, because what if something happens to Frodo? One of them can carry it and take it. But of course, I don't think giving it to Boromir at this point is a good idea, because they kind of hint that he kind of wants it, because he wants to use it, as he said. He wants to use it and take it to Gondor and overthrow the enemy, which of course we cannot do. So that is the Council of Elrond. So, hope you enjoyed this video and the last one, which was part 1. And I shall return later with another video about the Council of Elrond. Or, not the Council of Elrond, we just read that. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go, I'm tired. Catch you later.